You know, today we're dealing with a nuisance. Who here, besides me, hates mill scale? Everyone should have their hands up. It's a pain in the butt. Today, I'm going to show you a couple ways to get rid of that mill scale. And then, as an added bonus, I'm going to show you how to protect that raw steel once we're done cleaning it. Mill scale, and it is the almost like a slag from when this is red hot. They run it through a roller to get it flat and to make the shape. That's where the term hot rolled steel comes from. Well, that garbage that comes up is like iron and iron oxide and stuff like that, and it does afford the steel some initial protection from the atmosphere, but it will eventually flake off once moisture gets under it. That's why painting over mill scale is a huge waste. The scale will begin to peel, and so will your paint job. Cold rolled steel, when they form it, is rolled cold. It's not red hot, so the slag doesn't come up to the surface and create the mill scale layer. There's 3 different ways really to get rid of it. One is mechanically, so you can take your angle grinder with a flap disc on it and go at this bad boy. You can cause distortion in the metal. Sometimes the distortion comes from, if the piece is thin, you're building up heat with the flap wheel to remove the mill scale, and it can cause it to warp. The other way is if you're grinding, of course you're taking away material. You can go past the mill scale layer and into your good base metal, and you can get dips and waves and scratches and stuff in your metal. The other mechanical way is with a blast cabinet. Another way is what they call flame cleaning. So you can take an oxyacetylene torch, and instead of pointing it in and cutting it, what you're doing is you're basically wiping the surface with the flame, and you're heating up and blowing away the mill scale. The third way is chemically, and this is the route that I'm going to show you today. Now, there are some inherent dangers with this process depending on which way you go. We need gloves, acid resistant gloves, we need a respirator, and we need eye protection. Muriatic acid, it's the stuff that they clean driveways with and you add to your pool to adjust your pH balance. It is some nasty stuff. You do not want to keep it in your garage. Keep it somewhere where you don't have metal, because just the fumes from this stuff can chew up metal, cause it to rust overnight. The dangers of the muriatic acid are too much for your situation, so you got some kids running around, pets, that sort of thing. You can do it without muriatic acid, and you can use white distilled vinegar. Now with the muriatic acid, to clean the part down, 30 minutes or so of soaking will get you down to the clear, clean base metal. It's going to take probably 24 hours, maybe a little bit more with the white vinegar. All right, enough talking. I'm going to show you how we process this nasty mill scale off of this piece. So we've got our part neutralized out of the acid, neutralized it just by rinsing it off, and as you can see, almost all that mill scale is gone. And what is left, we'll just wipe away. So we'll wipe all this off, we'll make sure it's nice and dry, and then what we'll do is we'll hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad. There you go. Nice clean metal. Now, of course, I would wipe this down with acetone before you weld it or anything. Just to prove that you don't have to use muriatic acid, I'm going to add distilled white vinegar to this container, and we're going to leave this part in for roughly 24 hours, and we should get the same result. Now, you don't need gloves with the vinegar. I just prefer that my hands don't smell like salt and vinegar chips all day. Well, let's see what we got. It just rubs off just like the muriatic acid does. So I'm just gonna wipe this off, dry it, and we'll hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad too. But the vinegar is a viable solution for you guys that don't want to deal with the muriatic acid. Look at that. There we go. Mill scale is now no longer a problem. So clean with muriatic acid, been sitting for a couple days, and then clean with vinegar. Either way works. So now that we've got our part cleaned, we can go ahead and weld it and do whatever we need. But once that's done, how would you keep it from rusting? Well, this is what I found, and let me show you. You can paint it, you can powder coat it, you can Cerakote it, any number of processes to protect it. But what if you can't change it dimensionally like paint and powder coat will do, because it'll build up some surface? Say it's a precision part, but you still want it to be protected. Or it's like it is right now. You can hear my heater going. It's just too darn cold to paint. You don't have a powder coat oven. What do you do? And if you got a bunch of parts, you know, hanging all these up and painting them and everything, it can be a pain in the butt. So I've come across a way to protect that raw steel once you're done with it, whatever that is. Once you're done with it, that can protect it for a long time. It's a pretty good finish, like it's pretty tough. It's going to protect against rust, and it's renewable. You can like redo it repeatedly, and it'll last for years and years. Gun guys know all about this. Bluing. They call it bluing, but it's really black. In this case, we'll be using the Birchwood KC Perma Blue paste. You can get it in a liquid form. There's a hot bluing, which we will not be doing. That's a little more complicated. And cold bluing, which you simply apply this paste or liquid, whichever route you go, to your bare metal, and then it turns into this. Gives it a nice clean looking finish and some protection. So what we'll do now is I'll show you how to go from this to this. It's a pretty simple process. It just takes a little bit of time. It's not complicated at all. No real hard work. You just need a couple of things. Safety first. You need gloves and eye protection. You don't want to get this stuff in your eye. There is an acid in it, so be very careful. Wear gloves. And what I'm going to do is just wipe this down with some acetone, make sure that all my fingerprints and grubby crap is off of it, because that will show up in the finish. And then I have a bucket below me that has some used motor oil in it. You can use any oil you want, vegetable oil, motor oil, whatever. That's just what I have. So quick overview of what the process is. Get it nice and clean, fingerprints off. We're going to brush the stuff on, and you'll see it almost immediately change. We'll let it sit. We'll get the edges. We'll flip it over. Same thing. Let it sit, do its thing. We'll rinse it with cold water, dry it off. and then we're going to put it in the bucket of oil for 12 hours. Pretty simple, right? All right, let's do it. There you go. That is how you cold blue steel. And that's how you drop it. So hopefully that helped you, some of you guys out. And you picked up something that'll help you in your case or in your garage or whatever. But I think we did pretty good. We went from nasty mill scaled hot rolled steel to nice clean bare steel that we could weld or do whatever we want with. And then once we were done, we ended up with something that was blued steel that should last a long time and gives the steel a little bit of protection against rust and stuff like that. That's it for this one, guys. Until next time, get up, get out there and do it.